Welcome to a new episode of Delphine Circle, where we uncover the mind, body, and spirit of success. Subscribe now for free to receive updates on the latest interviews. Then, sit back, relax, and tune in. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the Circle.
Thank you so much for having me, Delphine.
Yay! So, Lisa Bhathal Merage, co-founder and managing partner of Mirage Capital, co-founder and chief impact officer of Revitate, and co-owner of the Sacramento Kings team. Whoop, whoop.
A lot of titles there, huh?
Right? Busy girl. So we met recently through your brother. But I've got to tell you, I've been a fan for some time. I was in the audience for the 2015 Orange County Business Awards of Women in Business Award. Very stiff competition. I was so proud of you. You did such a great job. What was that like? Tell me. I know those competitions are super fun. What was that like to win that award?
Yeah, it is fun. I was so honored that the Orange County Business Journal selected me. I honestly had no idea, and they started reading my bio, and I'm like, that sounds like me. And then what was going through my head is my friend Nicole McMacken turned to me as, what the heck am I going to say when I go up there? And luckily at that time, my first boss, who was Kathy Bronstein with the Wet Seal, was in the audience, and I spotted her and just kind of told a little story about how she gave me my first opportunity. So yeah, it was super exciting.
Well, and to your credit, actually, it's, I think, 5 judges, and it's not the Business Journal. It's women and business owners from all over that actually nominate the winners. So it's pretty stiff competition there. I want to talk about your current work with Revitate, but before we go into that, I want to go back a little bit and talk about your former role as CEO of Mirage Swim, and I believe that's from 2006 to 2016. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. I love swimwear. I'm just going to tell you. Tell me a little bit about that and running a swimwear manufacturing company, and what was that like for you?
Well, it was a lot of fun, and it's funny. Thank you for the nod to swimwear. I looked at your beautiful dress when you came in, and I was like, that would make a nice swimsuit. I like the print. I like the keyhole. So,
right?
Yeah. No, it was a fantastic experience, and I'm so grateful because my parents, Raj and Marta Bhathal, started the business in 1967. And, I grew up around it. I grew up around dinner time conversations, and you learn a lot through osmosis that way. Mm-hmm. So when I graduated from USC on Friday, I went to work on Monday for my mom and dad. I actually had 3 other offers, including Kathy from the Wet Seal,
wow.
All for more money. And somehow I negotiated my parents up a little bit, but I figured this is a really good opportunity. So I really worked my way up in that company from coming in just in a very entry-level marketing position and working my way up.
Yeah. And tell me some of the brands that you guys manufactured for.
We did a lot. So we had our own brands, and we do still have some of them, called Athena, which was named after a family trip to Greece in 1982. Next by Athena, I had my own brand called Lux by Lisa Vogel that was sold at stores like Neiman Marcus, Saks, and Four Seasons resorts. And then we also had the licenses for a lot of different brands. We started with Guess, we had Nautica, Tommy Hilfiger. Locally here, we worked with Hurley and O'Neill, Elamos, Splendid.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of different brands.
Like, who didn't
St.
you work
John,
for?
we worked with St. John locally also.
Awesome.
Got to know Maria Gray and Kelly Gray through that relationship.
Yes, very cool.
Yeah, and then we did private label for almost you name it. Everyone from Jax to Athleta. So it was a fun business.
Did you have women come up and go, I hate when bathing suits do that? Bathing suits are a very problematic thing for women. I think women have a lot of intrepidation around bathing suits. I know when I have to go try on a new bathing suit, I have to have a glass of wine first.
Yeah, there was a stat that I read at one point that said that women would rather go to the OBGYN or go to the dentist rather than try on swimwear. It was like the most hated thing in the world.
I think they need to put prettier lighting or something to make us feel better about ourselves, right?
Yes. It would help if there was not fluorescent lighting, but I suppose online shopping has helped that because you could try it on at home and get multiple sizes and figure out what works and then return what doesn't.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what I've kind of done now with online shopping. I just bring in a whole bunch, try them on in my own thing, and then send
Yeah.
back what I don't like.
Exactly.
Kind of. So there's an old adage that you should never mix business with family. You guys clearly haven't followed that. And in fact, your brother sent in a little quote about working with his sister. He said, "I am been so proud to be a business partner with Lisa for over 20 years. Not only is she a great sister, but she has proven to be a resilient, thoughtful, and creative leader across businesses. I'm particularly inspired for her dedication to creating positive impact through social change in our communities and through her philanthropic and investing pursuits."
Oh,
Aww.
I know.
He's such a sweetie pie.
He
Love
is.
Alex.
And he's like the smartest guy I know. He's so smart.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just so lucky that he's my business partner. And we have this skill set that really balances each other and complements each other. So I guess that's why it works. It's funny. We can go into any meeting and I could literally tell by like the tip of his head exactly what he's thinking. And we can bounce off each other that way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you think is his strongest suit versus your strongest suit?
Well, he's really good with numbers. I mean, sometimes I am not sure if I can get the overarching concept of it,
Yeah.
but with the details, I'm like, are we okay to do this and this and this? And he's like, yeah, we got that covered.
Yeah.
And so that, and I have to say, I'm really proud of him because as we've pivoted our careers a bit, he's developed a skill set with running a fund and managing investors and working with investors that is a whole new skill set. And he's really blossomed with it.
As founder and co-founder and managing partner of Mirage Capital, it's an alternative asset platform, the Bhathal family office, basically. What made you make that transition? I mean, to go from manufacturing into investment, that seems like a very different world.
It is a different world. And I think, the impetus for us is that we sold our business to private equity. We sold to Swander Pace Capital and Goldman Sachs, ran it for a few years after the acquisition. And then it was really just time for us to move on and do something else. And Alex, we all have our different passions, and he wasn't quite as passionate about women's swimwear as, which is understandable, being a male in that industry,
Absolutely.
right? So he kind of wanted to do other things. And also at the same time, we had made some other investments like the Sacramento Kings, which we purchased after selling our business. And so we just kind of thought, let's do something else. And left, and all of a sudden I was at cocktail parties, and people would say, "Who are you? What do you do?" And instead of being able to say, "Well, I run a women's swimwear company," I was like, that. You had to so I had to learn how to reinvent that cocktail party conversation.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Well, out of Raj Capital came Revitate, and that's an investment platform, and you guys have 3 basic strategies or pillars that you work under. Tell me a little bit about what those are.
Yeah, of course. So the 3 pillars are the things that we know best. So we know real estate, which my parents started investing in real estate in like the 1980s. So as we would generate profits from the swimwear company, they would invest into real estate. It actually developed apartment communities, condos, hotels in Lake Havasu in Las Vegas, shopping center in Las Vegas. So we know real estate. We know consumer products, which is the second pillar. And the third pillar is sports, which we're newer at, but we've done for about a decade now. Or actually, maybe I should say longer, because back in 1991, then my parents bought a team in the World League of American Football, which was a subsidiary of the NFL. That doesn't exist anymore, but it was around for a couple of years. And we had this team called the Orlando Thunder that had fluorescent lime green uniforms, so you couldn't miss them. It was on like ABC and USA Network. So we have been in sports for a long time. So we have real estate, consumer products, and sports, and then a thread of social impact throughout, which is fundamental just to the core values of our family and what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you have a newer division with Cherry Tree. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's really exciting. We have partnered with Chris Marsh to launch Revitate Cherry Tree. And Chris Marsh was with the Irvine Company for about 17 years. He was president of the apartment development division. And he's fantastic. And so after a long tenure at Irvine Company, he decided to leave and go out on his own. And we're partnered with him on a joint venture. The idea is that we are investing into workforce housing in the Sunbelt area, which is kind of going back to the social impact thing. Workforce housing, for those that aren't in real estate, and I learned this as well, is really for people like teachers, policemen, nurses. So it's a certain kind of socioeconomic level that's shrunken in our country, and there's a dire need for this type of housing. So that's our focus. We've already acquired a few properties, some in Kansas City, and currently we have investors coming in with that product as well.
So is it a real estate investment trust? Is that what it is?
It's a real estate fund.
Fund. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Boy, you got so much going on. One of the endeavors, Ravaz, focuses specifically on investment in qualified opportunity zones.
Yes.
And I know that's a big part of what you guys did in Sacramento, but I happen to know that you guys were named the Opportunity Zone Investor of the Year by Globe Street, and you were also featured in a White House report as a best practice in opportunity zone investment. Tell me, your role as Chief Impact Officer, how does that roll itself out in terms of the work that you guys do for opportunity in zones?
So it's really interesting, and I don't know how much you know about opportunity zones, but in my quick nutshell, I'll tell you, in the 2017 tax reform bill, there were only 3 pages that were bipartisan, and it was about the opportunity zone legislation. It was co-written by Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina and Senator Cory Booker, so a Democrat and a Republican. And what happened is that kind of piqued our interest in opportunity zones. We also at the same time found out that the Golden One Center that we were building in downtown Sacramento was in an opportunity zone. And the idea behind opportunity zones is that the government realizes that there are areas around the country that desperately need revitalization, but they don't have the money to revitalize these areas. So they've turned to private capital. So the legislation provides for these really nice tax benefits if someone invests in opportunity zones. But what comes along with it and made it interesting to us is the social impact. We saw with our Golden One Center and DOCO, the Downtown Commons area in Sacramento, that as we revitalized this downtown area, there were thousands of jobs created. There were stores that opened and many more that opened in the surrounding areas. And it became really like the spark that revitalized downtown Sacramento. So
it's kind of like LA Live, right? It was very similar to what happened with LA Live.
Very similar. So it's great to have this private capital going in. And yes, there are the tax benefits, but it's really doing great work.
Yeah.
And you were referencing the White House report, and thank you for mentioning our honor with Globe Street. The White House report was really interesting because it focused on one of our investments, which is this is the name of it, County of San Bernardino Children's Behavioral Health Center for Juvenile Justice Reform. Really long, right? What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
So what it is it's a county center that provides mental health services and addiction services for kids that are basically in juvie. Wow. And we funded this building. And what it is the goal is to service about 900 families per year. And they say families because they find that there is usually a generational kind of carry through, where there could be like a grandparent, a parent, and a child that all go through the system. And they figure that if they can break that chain, then it helps decrease recidivism and fewer people will be going to prison. So it's really great work that we're doing. And that was what we were written up for.
I love it. I love it. So 2013, you guys bought the Sacramento Kings. What gave you guys the idea to get a basketball team, and how cool is that?
Well, I think since I mentioned the World League, my parents had a taste of, we always grew up going to sports games. Those are what we did as a family. We were, we had season tickets to the Rams when they were down here in Orange County. We would go see the Lakers. We would go to the Angels games. And my dad, even coming from India, is a total sports fan. just frequently on the weekends. That's what he's doing, is watching sports on TV. So we had the taste of it with the World League on ownership. And then when we sold our business, we're like, okay, what are we going to do now? And looked at
what was available.
Looked at football. Baseball was probably not necessarily for us, but basketball seemed like there was a lot of opportunity. And the NBA does such a great job with really forward-thinking marketing and technology that they're really the leaders with innovation, I think, out of the sports leagues.
That's amazing. Yeah. So, okay, you walk in, as everybody's like, oh my God, that's the owner. And the guys come by and high five you.
Well, we're one of the three owners. Okay. We are not my dad is the alternate governor. My brother, Alex, sits on the executive board. And we are not the face of the team, which is nice because you kind of get all the perks without having to be like center front with media and things like that. But yeah, we go up there. We have the chairman's lounge and get to go for dinner and cocktails before the game, and we hang out with the other owners, and then we usually fly in, go to the game, watch the game. Hopefully there's a win. It's really sad when your team doesn't win, and we're not having the easiest season right now.
Yeah.
And then we fly home later that night.
So do you guys get, involved at all in terms of like the coaching of the team or player selection or any of that?
I think our family's opinion of that is that you hire the best people for the job and you let them do their job. Yeah. That's how we operate as a family.
Yeah.
And I know there's different theories out there, whether it's the NBA or businesses, but we really believe in just kind of hiring the best people and letting them do what they need to do.
So smart. I think that's a sign of great leadership. Yeah. So that kind of spearheaded the whole Revitate Sports division. Such a fun opportunity area to get into as well. Tell me, what are the types of things you guys are going to be working on with that?
So we're really lucky because we have a partner, Canal Merchant, who we met during our while we were building the Golden One Center. Canal used to be the Mayor Kevin Johnson's chief of staff up in Sacramento, and then he moved over to the Kings and really oversaw what was happening with the public-private partnership of the development of that area. And Canal is kind of spearheading the stuff that we're doing in Rev Sports. So right now, we are one of 5 groups that's contending for this redevelopment of an area in San Diego called Midway. Ooh. Yeah. So the city has a piece of land. They want to develop housing and possibly an arena on it. So these groups have come together, and we're in one group called Midway Village. And since we have this experience with developing arenas, we have Canal on our team, then we're one of 5 being considered for that. So we'll see.
Gosh, wow. Yeah. Well, I want to talk more about what you guys did in Sacramento, because I know it was a really big undertaking, a huge project. You developed the Golden One Center, the Downtown Commons, Sawyer Hotel, over $1 billion developed in 6 city blocks.
Yeah.
Wow. What were some of the learnings that came out of a project of that size?
Well, I think that what we learned kind of goes back to the opportunity zones. It's like really you take a project like that and you put it in an area that needs revitalization, and it's amazing what it could do. I mean, this was an area that we used to say, sometimes people talk about with these areas, what are you displacing? And we kind of would joke that the only thing we're displacing are cockroaches. So, yeah, it is now so vibrant. Even, coming out of COVID, people are there. With Rivaz, we have a building that we're finishing right now called 660, and it's right and part of DOCO, and it's an office building, but it's all about what is the office of tomorrow. So it has a rooftop lounge, it has a tenant lounge, it has bike parking. So all of these things with the idea of work, play, live in this downtown area. So you can go to work, you can work all day, you could do some of your work out on the sun on the rooftop, and then you could go to a Kings game or a concert at Golden One afterwards. You run out for lunch down in Downtown Commons. So just kind of
sounds amazing. I got to say, I've never once been to Sacramento. I don't know how. I've been a California girl my whole life. How I've not been to Sacramento, I don't know. But you're making me really want to go.
Most people only go during their child's 4th grade field trip. When parents have to go with their kids, which is actually where I met my husband on that trip.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
But when our kids were in 4th grade, placed in the same class. But Yeah, you should come up to Sacramento sometime.
Yes, I would love to. I'll have to check out a Kings game while I'm there.
Yeah.
All right, so Lisa, we do a little thing here called Big Questions. And this is an opportunity to get to know a little bit more about the thinkings of Lisa Mirage. Do you have any consistent daily routines?
I do. I have a few. I actually started working with a coach about 1.5 years ago, Dr. Aaron Bennis. He's the complete coach. And for me, it was more about spirituality and mindset. So I have kind of a process of things that I do every day.
Ooh, I love this kind of stuff. Do tell.
So I wake up in the morning before I get out of bed. I recite by heart something called my declaration. Then I usually do, I get some kind of exercise in every day, but I usually will go outside and do morning sun for a few minutes. Just being outside in the sun, get your melatonin, everything starts working properly, which is so good for your
look at
health,
that gorgeous
weight.
color you have on your skin, so it's beautiful.
I know. I actually said to Dr. Aaron, I was like, do I wear sunblock? And he's like, no, don't wear sunblock. Just go out for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I do a little bit of exercise every day, whether it's yoga, Pilates, circuit training, playing tennis. And then every night before I go to bed, I write out my declaration as well, which if you
So it's
like.
the same declaration every day?
It is.
Okay.
If you like, I could share it with you.
Yeah.
So it might take a minute.
Can I copy it?
No, you have to do your own.
You have to do your own.
You have to do your own.
Okay.
It's something I worked on it took me about, 4 or 6 months to work on.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, yes, please share it.
Okay. I'm evolving and growing into peace. I am that I do my best. I am smart. I am a powerhouse. I am very kind and loving. I'm unique and one of a kind. I am beautiful. I am confident, happy, energetic, and light, and I love my body. I am skinny by nature. I am healthy. I am strong in my core. I'm good at sports. I am able to give lots of love. I am filled with love for those I care about. I am love. I am in love with the strong man Richard is. I am always loving with Richard. I am everything that Richard needs me to be. I'm a very giving, generous, and loving person. I am someone who people look up to. I am a good mom, a good wife, a good sister, and a good daughter. I am in tune with myself and others. I am grounded. I'm stretching myself. I am doing the best I can. I am a positive person. I am loved the way I am. I'm content with who I am. I'm happy the way I am. I'm becoming wiser every day. I am that whatever life hands me, I handle with ease and grace. I am at peace.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Thank you for letting me share.
I can see why it took you 4 to 6 months to put that together, because you probably kept adding to it, right?
Yes.
And what is the goal of the declaration?
The goal is to, by repeating these kind of mantras on a daily basis, this is who I am. It's so broken down, like in working with my coach, it's not just saying it, it's literally that every cell in your body knows this is who you are. Yeah. And it's how you show up. Yeah. So I do my best to show up.
How long have you been doing that?
I have been writing it out every night for about 400 days now. There are a couple missed nights. Like I was in Las Vegas and we were out and I missed writing it that night. That happens. But it's a practice. It's my meditation.
Yeah, I love it. Have you noticed anything shift inside of you since you've been doing that?
I think if you ask pretty much anybody who knows me, whether it's like my mom, my husband, my kids, friends, they'll say that I am so much more settled and peaceful. And that's my goal. I mean, I begin with, I'm evolving and growing into peace, and I end with, I am at peace. So my goal is to be peaceful in a chaotic world.
Wow, I love it, honey. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really powerful.
Thank you.
Any other things you do? I'm afraid to ask.
It's always evolving, right?
Okay, yeah. Tell me something that people would be surprised to know about you. Well, that's actually kind of surprising, but.
I think the one that usually surprises people if I share it is the fact that I was born in the front seat of my grandmother's green Ford Mustang in the emergency zone in front of Hoag Hospital.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure that your mom's got a story about that.
Yeah, we never quite made it in. And I wrote my college entrance essay about how I was different from the beginning because I wasn't allowed in the nursery with the other kids.
They wouldn't allow you in the nursery?
No, back then it was considered like an unsterile birth. So I was with my mom.
Wow. Interesting. What do you think is the purpose of life? Why do you think we're here?
It's really interesting that you asked that because my husband asked me that on our first dinner date. And I was able to somehow just answer. Like, I don't really know where the answer came from, but it's true. And now I frequently share it with my kids, which is, I believe that we are all here to contribute to society in one way, shape, or form. And hopefully this is something my kids will learn from and do as well. And that can mean a lot of different things. That could mean having a business where you are contributing by making something that the world needs. It could be that you have a business and you're providing jobs to people. It could be that you're working in a business. It could be that you're a mom and you're committed to raising being CEO of the household, which is not just raising the kids, but it's like running the whole household, right? Or it could be that you're a volunteer and you're doing service work and doing something to change the world. But to me, I'm a big believer in not staying idle and contributing in some way. And I hope that my kids learn that and will do something, whatever it is, with their passion, but will contribute to society in that way.
It's interesting because everybody has a different answer to that question, obviously. And some people answer it in more of a, what does it mean to me, And that is so beautiful. Everything you said was about giving back and how you can be of service. And you can see that in who you are. It's clearly who you are.
Thank you.
I love that. Tell me about a piece of advice that you were given that you've always remembered.
So my mom told me when I first started working to be flexible. Be flexible in business. And, at that time she said, we as women like things a certain way. We like them, very organized. And we kind of think of them in a box. And men sometimes aren't like that. Men will look at things from different perspectives. And the best thing that you could do as a woman in business is to remain flexible and change with things. And I think over time, I've interpreted that as the ability to do things from an operations standpoint and get into the weeds when I need to, but be able to bounce up to that 30,000-foot level where you can look at things strategically. And sometimes I feel it's like exercise where you bounce back and forth between those two levels. It's so good for your brain. And sometimes that's where the best ideas come from.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. Well, and it's like every day that we wake up, we're a new person, right? Because we've grown from the experiences of yesterday and we've kind of reprojected about what we want. So you always have to kind of be reanalyzing things. It's like my mom told me when I was little, keep tasting the same foods that you don't like because your taste buds constantly change. So maybe that'll be your next favorite food.
That's true.
Right?
One of my sons just started liking Indian food, even though he's like 25% Indian and did it for many years.
I love Indian food. Oh my gosh. Did you grow up eating Indian food?
No. My dad was, one of 8 brothers and sisters from India, and he was the only one not to have an arranged marriage. He met my mom in Manhattan Beach, and she's from Newport Beach and, fair with light hair and light eyes, and fell in love. And so, no, my dad was one who came here to America and was like, I'm American.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we made beautiful kids. Mixtures make the best babies, I always say. What do you think is the issue that's most pressing issue, I should say, facing the world?
So I think that today we could look at things in kind of on 2 different levels. Of course, internationally with the whole Ukraine-Russia conflict, that I think is very much at the top of everyone's minds right now. I think domestically, we're coming out of COVID where the income disparity between the haves and the have-not is greater than it's ever been before. And it's something that as the middle class shrinks away, it becomes, I think, worse and worse for our country. So it's like, how do we fill that? How do we solve for that? I feel like a lot of the social impact work that we're doing is helping solve for that because we're providing jobs, we're starting businesses. When I track what we're doing from social impact, it's on a few different levels, whether it's like, are we putting Wi-Fi in an area? Are there parks in this certain area where we're building real estate? So I think whatever we can do to help close that gap and lift people up, coming out of COVID, that's very pressing in our country.
Yeah. It's funny. You just reminded me of something. I read that one of the things that people were falling back on during the pandemic was nature, and how nature is so grounding and so peaceful to us. And I spent a lot of time in Denver, and Denver was kind of a new place, and they just didn't have any greenery. So they started giving people incentives to put rooftop gardens. And now when you look out over Denver, you see all these beautiful rooftop gardens. So put rooftop gardens in where you go.
Oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
Love them. Why don't we make more use of rooftop spaces, right?
Right.
It's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
Just saying.
Especially for this, what is it in Ayurvedic medicine? It's the pittas who like that, who like being around the forest and greenery, and it soothes their souls.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure Nelson could talk for us about that. Tell me something that you used to believe, but you don't anymore.
I think that the old adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't believe that. I think I used to think that was just, I took it as what it was. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I've come to believe that really the mind is the most powerful thing that we have and can really accomplish or change anything. And in some of the work that I'm doing right now, the personal work with the coach, with Coach Dr. Aaron, I've learned that I've always been one where like mindset is very important. My mom is like that. My mom literally could get like cancer or COVID, and she will not, because she will be like, no, I'm not sick. I'm well. And she will use her mind to will her into health.
I believe that. Absolutely.
But I believe it's even beyond that. I think that people who have chronic illnesses, and it's not like it solves everything, but I believe there's so much that can be accomplished if you just put your mind to it and focus and change your mindset.
I so believe that too. I love that. Tell me a goal that you've yet to reach.
So every year I don't do resolutions, but I do goals. So I look back at my iPad and I have them like so many years back with the goals for the year. And my goal for this year, 2022, is self-care. We as moms put everybody else in front of us, all of our kids, our spouse. Work has always been a priority of mine. And I've decided that actually this is the year of me. So that's also probably why I've been diligent with my practices, and doing certain things. Like even the other day, I was like, oh, I have tennis on Thursday morning. Should I cancel it so I can get more work done? I'm like, no, self-care. So that's really a goal for me right now.
I love that. I have something similar. I do, I pick a new word every year. And I always ask my friends, what is your word for this year? What is your word for this year? So my word for this year was abundance. And it got delivered to me in a meditation. And I was like, oh, okay, clearly it's supposed to be my word. But it's so funny. It's like, as soon as the year turned over, things have just been coming in waves. I've had, all of these new guests and new opportunities and new dates. And I was like, this word's paying off. I'm so happy I picked abundance. So
you did, and you probably manifested it
right?
too.
I absolutely believe I did.
Yes.
Yeah. And so March is supposed to be my month for money. So I'll check back and I'll let you know.
That for March. I keep seeing things that March is supposed to be the money month. Let's all hope for that, right?
Okay, I want to talk about your philanthropic passion, because you are a very philanthropic person, as is your whole family, both in arts and education. You were awarded the Altruist of the Year Award in 2015 by Modern Luxury Magazine. I love Mod Lux, so got to mention that. You served as a trustee for both Sage Hill and the St. Mary's World School, chairperson of the board of Gen Next, an angel of the arts for the Segerstrom Center. And you're also on the board of the Orange County Museum of Art, recently named co-chair for the opening gala with Elizabeth Segerstrom.
Jennifer Segerstrom.
Oh, Jennifer Segerstrom.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
How exciting.
Yeah.
That must be really cool.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay,
so excited about our museum.
I definitely have questions, because I already told you Heidi Zuckerman is one of my go-to. I want her. She's on the top of my list of who I want on the show.
Heidi, listen to this.
Right. Heidi, we're coming after you. What exactly is a role of a co-chair of the opening gala of the Orange County Museum of Art? I was like, I don't know if I know what that would
What
be.
do we do?
What do we do?
Do we ask our friends for money and to come to support the
Probably.
museum?
That's probably a big one.
You kind of kind of dial for dollars a little
Yes,
bit, right?
yeah.
That's part of it.
That's a big
but
one.
no, it's super exciting. The museum actually opens to the public on October 8th. Our Gala Art Sense is on October 1st. So it's
a sneak peek.
It's a sneak peek. It's on the rooftop of the new museum. Going back to rooftops.
Yes.
There will be trees there that are indigenous to
Yay.
California. And Africa, I believe. I heard that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be this fantastic event that we have this world famous sommelier coming in named Jay Fletcher, who, if you saw the Netflix documentary Sommelier, he was the star of it.
Okay.
He is actually...
I will now?
Yes. He is actually going to be selecting the wines with every course, wines plural, not just one. There's like multiple. And then we work with our caterer to design the food that goes with the wine. Wow. Which will be opposite.
Yeah. Do you know who, have you guys chosen the caterer already?
I don't know if we're disclosing that quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're still in negotiation with stuff. Yes.
Well, I did read recently that Lugano Jewelry made a nice sizable donation, and so the whole first year is going to be free to anybody that wants to come to the museum. I love that.
Very generous gift under admission.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to get a lot of people storming those doors. And of course, question number 2, what are you going to wear?
I know. Isn't that the question?
This is going to be the who's who gala for sure.
Well, and especially because Heidi decided that the theme is utopian. And I'm like, Heidi, what does that mean? I had to Google them. I'm like, it's not dystopian, it's utopian.
What does that mean?
It means like the perfect society. Oh. So that kind of leaves it open. I think a lot of people will be doing different things. I have to figure out what that means for me. Like, what does it mean? You can interpret it every which way.
Now, do you think that has something to do with the art that's going to be the opening
I think it's kind of like the museum is the end-all, be-all. You know, it was started many years ago by 13 women, and that seems to be the carrying theme. There'll be an exhibit with 13 female artists. I think we have 13 people on our benefit committee. So Heidi's using that 13 very...
she's so creative.
Yes, yes, in very creative ways. And it'll be a great event.
2016, you married Richard Mirage. Together, you guys have a blended family now of 5 boys, 13 to 20. Oh my gosh. I happen to know that blending families is not the easiest thing to do. How do you balance everything? How do you balance all your philanthropic work, the business, the family, the kids? How do you do that?
My quick answer to that is I do the best I can. Yeah. Repeating it every day. Repeat, rinse and repeat. No, it's a work in process.
Yeah.
I mean, you know when you're in this situation, it's like there's some days that are harder, some days that are easier. My son Charlie loves to say, I like having 4 other brothers because if there's one I don't like, I could play with 3 others. And it just kind of like rotates through with who, you know, but for the most part, they get along.
Yeah.
And they're a great group of kids. We're really fortunate. There's definitely a lot of testosterone in the house. And one day somebody better give me a granddaughter.
Right.
But not for a while.
Yeah.
But it's work. Richard and I constantly are working on our family and how we navigate different things with the different boys and how we
Do you guys
blend.
parent similarly?
I would say we parent similarly, but as you know, when you have a blended family, then there's always another parent in the equation. So it's not sometimes just the 2 of us. Sometimes there's 4 of us.
That's so true.
And it's about how we can communicate and just be the best parents that we can be.
Yeah.
That's all we could do.
Absolutely. And you think there's any basketball players in the bunch?
Oh my gosh, we have 5 of them. We used to joke we had our own basketball team, but no. I mean, so far, the tallest is Vaughn, and he's 6'3", and he sails and plays golf. So
there you go. Every kid picks their thing, right?
Yeah.
Lisa, you've accomplished so much already. What can we expect next from Lisa Mirage?
I think I just need to get out from underwater first between everything that's going on this year, having 3 kids graduate. I'm working on planning my stepson Leo's bar mitzvah in May. I kind of joke and call it my Jewish wedding. And I'm not Jewish, by the way. Like, good luck to me in planning this. I'm working on it. But, and then getting a couple kids off to college and doing the gala and doing work. And maybe on October 2nd, I'll be able to breathe and just kind of carrying through self-care,
There you
self-care. That's it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here today and sharing all of your insights. It's been so fun to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Delphine Circle. Don't forget to subscribe. It's free and it will help us keep these incredible interviews coming your way. Here are 2 other episodes you may enjoy. I'm Delphine. Welcome to my circle.